Does that give any hope to Vancouver FC, or is that just a question of what will the scoreline be?
You always got a chance, right? Especially in a one-off. It's a home game for the Whitecaps, but not too far for those VFC fans to travel. And it should be a great environment, great occasion. So I think that they can get up for it. I think the tough thing for Forge in that second leg was the early goal. I thought that Forge was very good from the start, like probably deserved the opening goal in the first 90 seconds of that game with the way that they created that opportunity. So there's a way that Vancouver FC gets a result. It's going to be extremely tough, obviously, but the longer it goes, kind of even goalless, or if they're able to grab one off of a set piece or some quick play, then they've got a chance. And that was, in talking to Bobby Smirniotis after the match, that was kind of something that they wanted to identify and attack, was, a certain area of the pitch to create some opportunities for themselves. And I think they did an okay job of it. It just, the longer the game goes, and then once you're trailing as well and you have to open up, it makes it really tough. And then Bobby was mentioning how the penalty goal was just a gut punch early in the second half. And those things change games, as you know. But yeah, there's a way that VFC gets a result, and it's probably, staying in the game for as long as possible, and then maybe, getting the first goal. That could maybe open things up, and you can get opportunities on the counter. I thought that they also, could have, they needed to get that goal. Obviously didn't need it in the end. They did enough to get the results against Ottawa, but that counterattack goal, I think, is going to be important. I thought it was going to be important in the game against Ottawa, but I think it'll be really important against the Caps if they can maybe catch them on the counter. They've got a chance.
I think it's great for the Cup too, just a fresh face in there. It really is. I'm looking forward to this, and the Caps are going to win, but I think it's just a good event, and for BC soccer, which is enjoying some year, what a great way to kind of lead into the World Cup year.
Mm.
Yeah.
And Martin Nash, I was just thinking.
The Martin Nash story is
that's
great.
That's kind of cool too, right? Like, he'd been let go by York, and then a bit in soccer coach purgatory in Canada, and then he shows up there, and now he's leading this team to the Canadian Championship. It's a nice story.
Yeah, never CPL side to get to the final, right, of a full Canadian Championship tournament, and they never won a round before.
Yeah.
So I was about to ask Asa about, history and rivalry and what that's like in BC between. There's nothing that exists. Like, this is the first.
Which is great. Which is why I think this is so special, and something that fans are really hoping for on both sides, the Whitecaps side, the VFC side as well, just to see this matchup. Once we realized that this was a possibility, I think everyone was rooting for it. Didn't know, or we weren't as optimistic going into that time between VFC and Ottawa. But once they got that first result, that 3-1 win at home, I think it was probably their best game of the season, and came at the perfect time as well to get it. And that clearly became the focus for this team, is to reach that final. So happy for them, and so glad that you brought up Martin Nash, because he's a fan favorite here. Just as a BC boy, grew up on the island, played for the Vancouver Whitecaps in the USL era, won championships with them. I thought it was too bad that he retired just before they went into MLS. He was the captain of the team before they went into MLS. I thought that was a sad situation. Thought he could have at least done 1 year in MLS, because for all the footy fans here who've been following him for so long, I think that everyone wanted to see that. It was right when his brother was doing his thing in the NBA too. Like, he's like probably the most popular player here at that time, as far as like local kids doing his thing, playing for the national team. Like, Martin Nash was that guy here. So it was a little bit sad to not see him suit up for the MLS team. And for me personally, like I thought that should have happened. But here we are. I think it's a cool story, cool little side story that he's here. At BC Place for this massive, massive match.
Let me ask you this, I wonder, and this is part of on the spot, I suppose. If you're a Vancouver FC fan, would you rather them win? And obviously it won't be this year because they're dead last in the league. But would they rather win the CPL or the Cup?
Oh, beating the Caps in the next bit.
What's bigger at this point?
The Canadian Championship, right? Like that's a bigger competition
Probably,
for
yeah.
CPL teams. Like you're taking out, MLS competition at some point along the way. That's just harder to do for a CPL team. So that would be it, which is why this is so remarkable. The fact that they reached the final, obviously, and have a chance, 90 minutes away from getting it done. Anything can happen. Why not? It would have to be that. And then your name's in the record books forever. This is the first. There's only one first CPL team to win it, right?
CONCACAF Champions League.
Yeah, everything else that goes along with it. No, exactly.
I mean, obviously, you win the Cup in the CPL. Dubs, I mean, it's because that's been a long, old conversation in Europe. What's bigger, your league or your Cup? And in the last couple of decades, for sure, the leagues have taken over, and they're far more important than the Cup, sadly, in some regards, I think. But I think at this point in Canada, it is the opposite for the CPL teams, which is nice because I don't think it'll be there forever. I think at some point, as CPL grows, that's going to flip.
Yeah, I don't disagree there. Yeah, it's part of the lore, I think, as well. But especially, I think Asa mentioned it, or you did, Sharms, that no CPL team has done it, right? And I think the fact that it is a one-off makes it all the more possible that they can continue this kind of Cup magic and hopefully maybe be able to wrest it away from the Whitecaps, because by all accounts, you look at these two teams up against one another, like they don't have a chance, Vancouver FC. But they do, because it's the Cup, and they're last place by a large margin in CPL. So this is what they're clinging to. So yeah, I wonder if it does start to shift, but I think there is something about that lore, about the storied history, and not necessarily in Canada. I think we're starting to build it still, but the Cup competition does have that little bit of magic. And so it's just like the fact that it's possible.
2 games they've won all year in the league. 2.
Yep.
It's some story. This is a fairy tale story. As much as we can get fairy tale teams in Canadian soccer, okay, it's not a League One team, okay, but this is pretty incredible. I wonder if they're deadly honest at the CPL offices. If we got some truth serum and put it in the water supply, which we should, and some acid, because that'd be really funny, in the CPL offices, would they admit that, man, why Vancouver? Why?
I don't think you need the truth serum for that.
This year. What was that?
I don't think you need the truth serum for that. I think they just say, why Vancouver? Like, I think, there's probably a lot of people wondering why this team is in the final. You have some very good CPL teams, historically Forge, Cavalry, Ottawa. You probably want one of the top teams.
Every other
final,
team,
right?
actually.
I don't think you need truth serum to pull that out of them. But this is the team that got it done. And I like I said before, I believe that this became the focus. And for Martin Nash in particular, like solely focusing on getting to this final, because it means so much to the organization. And I'm just happy for them, because they've struggled in league play and league competition since they've been in CPL. So this is something hopefully that they can build on going forward as well.
Yeah, that's key. But if you're the CPL, like the flip side to all that, maybe they want it to be like a more marketable thing. You attach it to a club that's had success, like a Forge. Like that would be the dream if you're CPL, to have them clash with one of the best teams in MLS in the Vancouver Whitecaps. But you've got your worst team in your league that's in the final. Like you can spin that as a positive as well. Like we have depth. They're not necessarily parity because they've only won 2 games on the season, but that they can hang, they can compete. I think that's something that you can drum up interest around it. But I think what Asa is saying is the key piece. It's like, can they take, even if it's just getting to the final, they don't end up winning, and then build on that and make it foundational so that they can compete in future years in CPL.
But if the truth serum's worn off, but there's still the acid lurking in the system of Costa and JJ and Glenn Johnson and these guys at the CPL head offices, which would be, I've got to see this actually.
Just make this happen now.
Hey, Costa, do us a favor. You drop a couple of tabs. You wouldn't do that. But are they fearful that this could also be
a rout?
A rout? Is that worse than not? No,
it's not good.
No, it's not
good. You don't want to see a rout.
It's fine. The Whitecaps went and got smashed in the final. Everyone's forgotten about it.
Yeah, that's probably right. Tell you what, if you're we'll get Natey Bird on here. We'll get Nate Ingram on. What the hell, man? Like, how? They're probably thinking to themselves this morning, what did we do? We're that close.
Yeah.
And they're a really good team. They would, I still think Vancouver would still beat them, in my opinion, in a final. But it may not be a rout. Although 4-0 forward, which is pretty impressive. I don't know.
But you're Martin Nash and your Vancouver FC. You're going in and it's like all of our eggs in one basket. We've forgotten about the regular season. We can win this thing and it's 90 minutes. Like, you're not thinking, what if we get blown out? Yeah. Fuck that. We're going in and like, let's see if we can get something, and then maybe you park the bus or whatever it is, and we don't want to open up. And you just sit in your shape and you just try to mitigate like errors, stay tight, and then try to hit them on a counter, as Ace is saying. Anything is possible.
Well, I was going to ask you that earlier, Dubs. Like, as the team that's favored, probably heavily favored going into this game, the longer it goes tied, or if you're down, isn't it become more uncomfortable for the players in that situation? Like, you flip the thing completely if you get that goal, or even if you're in the 60th or 70th minute and it's 0-0. Like, you really switch that thing, and the pressure becomes on. It just goes solely on the team that's favored.
Yes, 100%. I think, like, you look at Vancouver Whitecaps, you look at the depth of the squad, and you look at Jesper Sorensen and the way that he's, I think, led that group and given them all the tools to manage, the game states and the competitions and everything that it brings, and the pressure as well. So they're really well set up for success here, no matter what Vancouver FC throw at them. But it remains, as you said, like, you get into that position, like, you will feel kind of the surroundings start to close in on you, and you start to tune into the sounds of the crowd and like the bench and things that you shouldn't be aware of. You should just be solely focused on what's happening on the pitch. But all of that gets ratcheted up the closer you get to that final whistle, if it's still tight or if it's tied at that point. And then the advantage, like, the pendulum swings the other way, and it's it's still gonna be so difficult for Vancouver FC to get a result or just to stay competitive. But it does remain, if they can keep it tight, that they might have a shot, because it's a one-off.
Yeah. I go back to that Forge match where they had the chance. I think like 1 minute, 22 seconds in, I looked at the clock as soon as that shot on goal. It's like point blank on Isaac Boehmer. He makes a good save. If that goes in, it's a completely different game because of the scoreline, but also the momentum, and like it just flips that game completely. And then instead, it's the Whitecaps scoring the opening 10 minutes, and then that just switches things as well. So it's like, it's one of these things where goals change games, obviously, as cliche as it is, but that's exactly what happens in these moments.
Listen, if Vancouver FC beat the Whitecaps in the Canadian Championship final, it is the biggest shock in Canadian sports history.
Biggest.
The biggest.
Yeah.
It can't just be big or huge. It's got to be the biggest. We live in this world where it's got to be the greatest of all time.
Hyperbole.
It's got to be
hyperbole.
But if you think about it, I mean, think about other competitions around the world where a lower division club beats not only the upper division club in the final, but a team that's bossing and dominating the top division in the Whitecaps. Yeah, I can't think it doesn't happen. You get the occasional shocker in the
You don't need to watch it. It won't happen.
No,
you don't need to watch it.
Don't bother.
The equivalent.
But you know what? I think it's so great for Dubs, because we're talking about the Canadian Championship final weeks before it happens. Right? There's so much to talk about which is more interesting than it was Vancouver and Montreal or Vancouver and Toronto.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is way more interesting.
Yeah. I agree.
Although
All kinds of narratives.
Vancouver FC may have a better chance of beating the Whitecaps than Montreal or Toronto.
You're not wrong. Yeah.
But it has that same underdog mentality as like a young James Sharman in 1919 trying to win Bulldog and upsetting the latrine tent.
Yeah, his parents cheering him on. His parents cheering him on, going, "We need indoor plumbing. We need indoor plumbing, Sharms."
See, I've gone from being a private schoolboy apparently to now living in a country without any plumbing. The ebbs and flows of Footy Prime, eh?